Any action that improves your sleep improves your willpower. The first requirement, the prereq to having willpower, is having a will. Willpower itself is just how well am I able to create the world that I want. Willpower is bringing about what you will into the world, building the life around you that you actually want. Small actions have ripple effects. Say it with me now. I will do this today. By next week, you're going to be noticing serious changes in your life. Welcome to the Willpower Podcast. Let me know if this feels familiar. You have a day off. You either don't have work, you're an entrepreneur, it's a weekend, spring break. You go through your morning routine, you shower, brush your teeth, get outside, and suddenly you just go, now what? What am I doing here? It feels like you should be ready to make use of this time. Wasn't it just last night that you were laying awake, feeling overwhelmed and stressed by all the different things going on in life, all the things that you need to take care of but haven't yet? And now here you are with all this time, yet it's unclear. What should I be doing with this? What should I actually be focusing on? So you end up wasting the day. And sure enough, tonight you lie down and your eyes pop open. And it's right then that all the racing thoughts come back. And you remember, here's all the things that I need to do, that I need to take care of. I've been caught in this loop many times in my life. And so what I did is I found the things that have worked for me to get me out of that loop in the past. And I distilled it into the tiniest little action that I could. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Listen through to the end to get the entire action, to know exactly what you're going to do in the next 24 hours, and to understand exactly why the process works. Let's do it. So today we are talking about procrastination and prioritization. This, I believe, is a much bigger problem than it seems. A lot of people will talk about it in a joking manner. I always procrastinate. I'm always putting things off. That's just who I am. Ha ha ha. And I'm here to say, I don't think it's such a funny issue. This is not benign. This is not a quirky personality trait. This is something that's seriously denigrating, just making your life worse than it could be. Let's say. Not that it has to be. It is worse than it has to be, but it's also, there's a potential for it to be so much better. I want you to imagine a life of low stress. You rarely feel overwhelmed. There's never panic. Every day you take care of what needs to be taken care of. You do it matter-of-factly. Even the things you maybe don't enjoy, you still do them, and you feel good about the fact that you do them. When you relax, you really relax. You take time to yourself to just enjoy life. Every night you rest easy, knowing that you're taking care of the shit that matters. And you know the route forward for you. And you know the way that you're moving. And you know the direction that your life is moving in is the one that you picked. Now let's flip it. And this might be your current life. You have too many things to do, yet the more you think about all the things you have to do, the longer the list gets. Seems like there's always more shit coming at you, and yet you're never directly addressing the things that you already need to do. The list doesn't get shorter and you never get ahead. You end up in this vicious cycle where you're always putting out fires, never actually doing the things that you want. Even when you do relax, it feels like the world is about to come down crashing around you. And so you cope. You cope by avoiding the problems. You cope by avoiding that long list that keeps getting longer. You fall back into addictive tendencies using things like scrolling, food, alcohol, all just to forget about the problem just for a moment. This sounds horrible. It sounds inescapable. And that's why we're talking about it, because today we're going to define a super simple action that can break you free of that cycle. So let's workshop this a little bit. Let's think through what we got. The most obvious solution is a to-do list, right? Just write down all the stuff you need to do and check it off. The problem with the to-do list, well, first of all, let's talk about the good parts of the to-do list. The to-do list is nice because it helps you take things off your mind. You're trying to remember all this stuff at all times, and sometimes just putting it down on paper it frees your mind a little bit. The issue with the to-do list, it's very tedious. This is now something that you got to carry around with you at all times and really incorporate into your life. It seems like a bit too much. It's a bit too hard to ask for someone who's struggling with something like this. It also doesn't give you prioritization, doesn't give you the power to decide where things go, because it's just a list. By nature, everything is the same. It's just one long list of identical elements. So it's good in many ways, but we need something better. We need something better that's even easier to implement, that you can see yourself doing today, tomorrow, continuing on. It needs to seem so easy that there's no doubt at all in our mind that we can do it. So here's the action. Tonight, as soon as you finish brushing your teeth, you are going to spend 1 minute, okay? 1 minute writing in a notebook or journal. The top of the page, you're just going to write tomorrow I will, and then you're going to spend 1 minute writing. You can write however feels natural. You can write bullet points. You can do check boxes if you want. You can just write freehand. However feels comfortable to you, just write for 1 minute. When you finish, that's it. You did the action. You're done. If you end up wanting to add on to the list, let's say you go lay down and again, eyes pop open, you go, oh shit, it's this other thing. You can write it if you want. It's up to you. If in the morning you get up to use the bathroom, shower, brush your teeth, and you notice it sitting there, and maybe you take a look, maybe you read it. Up to you. That's not part of the action. Totally up to you. What does the list actually look like? What's the things? What are you writing here? It's also somewhat up to you. Prompt is just tomorrow I will. And that can mean a lot of different things. It could be tomorrow I will do this. The simplest, just write an action that you want to do tomorrow. Could be tomorrow I will feel this, something that you would like to feel tomorrow. Tomorrow I will have this happen, something you want to have happen tomorrow. Again, you can be very creative with this. Just write down the things in your life that you want to see true tomorrow. When you finish writing, the one other part of the rule is that you just put it down somewhere apparent. It's either going to be in the bathroom, right where it is, or if you have a shared bathroom for whatever reason and you can't leave it there, you are going to put it somewhere super obvious like your nightstand or a desk in your room, somewhere that you are going to see it and remember to do it tomorrow. All right. So that's our action. Super simple. Now, before you dip off and say, okay, I got it, I'm going to just go do the action and fuck the rest of this, I want to actually tell you about why it works. Because what I've found is that the more that we understand things, the more likely we are to continue on with them, right? There's going to be less motivation to do things if we don't understand why they work, right? If I said, wave your hand like this, and then tomorrow you're going to have more willpower, you'd be like, fuck you. No, I'm not doing that. I don't understand that, so I'm not going to do it. The more you understand something and the mechanism behind it, the more likely you are to follow through and for it to actually stick. Now, it's not the only thing. There are a lot of things that also matter, like repetitions and actually sticking with it. But to be clear, understanding why it works is going to significantly help your brain in those low motivation states. Because you go, okay, I know why this should work, so I'm just going to trust in it and just do it, even though I don't really want to. So 3 things on 3 different levels for why this works. The first level is the simplest one. This should be the golden rule of this show, I think. Not actually, but it's a recurring theme. And that rule is any action that improves your sleep improves your willpower. Almost across the board. I'm sure you could think of some exception to that rule, but anything that improves your sleep is going to improve your willpower. It's going to give you more energy tomorrow. It's going to help you live to fight another day, right? So if we can do this at night and get those things off of our mind that are going to stress us and keep us awake, boom, that's a super easy win that you're going to see tomorrow. It's a quick win. So anything that helps your sleep helps your willpower. We'll start there with the easy one. Next, on the next level, it breaks the cycle. So we talked about this cycle earlier, and it's this reactive powerlessness cycle where every action you do is just because you have to do it. You're never getting ahead. You're only ever addressing the worst things. And at the same time, you're avoiding every problem that you possibly can, because anytime you address a problem, you have to address this mass of things that have accumulated, these stressors, these overwhelming things. You're addressing this cycle and you're breaking yourself out of it when you do this short list, because you're actually deciding these are the things I want to have happen, not just the ones that I'm going to react to, things that are going to happen to me. So that's huge. The third and the deepest one is going to be how it really builds willpower. And it does it by doing the first step of willpower, the first requirement, the prereq to having willpower. And what is that? What's the prereq to having willpower? It's having a will. Similar to what we just talked about. If you're in a reactive state all the time, you are powerless, you're never actually deciding what to do, you have no will. There's nothing that you're trying to bring into this world. There's nothing that you're trying to make happen in your life. The first thing you can do, the first thing you need to do before you have willpower, which is your ability to exert your will, is to have a will. That's why we wrote, tomorrow I will. Get it? You are deciding exactly what you are willing for tomorrow. And that's super important. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to get forward in the show is the fact that willpower is not just discipline or grit or waking up early. Willpower is bringing about what you will into the world, building the life around you that you actually want. That's the whole point. But to do that, you need to first know what it is that you want. You have to know your will. So those are the 3 levels. First, get better sleep. Fuck yeah. Easy dub. Tomorrow you'll feel better. Tomorrow you'll be more able to go at the day, do the hard things. Super, super easy. Second one, simply to break out of the cycle. The cycle is keeping you in a loop, and that loop is not letting you have willpower because it is forcing you to react to everything that's happening to you. Third is defining your will. Defining your will as the prerequisite to having real willpower. That's why this thing works. Now, I would like to talk about my experience with doing things like this. So I'm really excited. I have not done this super simple action. I have only done components of it in the past. I've done things like to-do lists. I've done things like stream of consciousness writing. I have not done tomorrow I will. And this is the thing I pulled out the pieces of those that worked the best. And so I'm very excited to implement this starting today. In the past, I have had this happen countless times where I have a day, I could go to bed and I cannot sleep. And I go, man, there's so many things. And I start ruminating. I start thinking about all the things I have to do as if thinking more about them is going to somehow help me remember them or make any progress on the problem in the first place. Newsflash, it doesn't. It doesn't actually change anything. It just makes you stressed and make you feel bad. So I've had that before, and then I can't sleep. And I lay awake and I'm just thinking about all the things that I could do differently or that need to be done or that I wish happened differently. It doesn't get me anywhere. I've also had the reverse when I wake up in the morning and I go, well, shit, I remember feeling stressed, but what can I actually do about it? Like, what do I do today? And then I just don't do anything that helps. I go to something that's completely outside of the ballpark of helping with the things that were stressing me. It doesn't help at all. So I am very excited to put this into play because again, I've lived there. I've been there. I've been there definitely recently. I'm trying to think about the last time, probably like last week was the last time that I experienced this. So let's go into the bigger lesson, how this action itself ties back to the show, ties back to the philosophy that we're trying to build. So the biggest part of the show is just that willpower is the exertion of our will. It has nothing to do with discipline, grit, none of those things. Maybe those pieces can play into it. Maybe they help, but that's not what willpower is. Willpower itself is just how well am I able to create the world that I want. In order to do that, we need our will. That's the biggest thing that this thing solves. So that's the first tie into our theme is we're defining a will. The second piece that ties into our theme is this idea of ripple effects. So when we're building willpower, it's easy to kind of make it this huge problem. Oh, I want to be able to do all these things. I want to be able to do X. I want to run for hours and be able to keep going and never quit. It's easy to kind of jump to that level of these huge actions, these really hard things that sound impossible to someone who's never gotten to that point in their life. And so that's another deep theme of this podcast is that small actions have ripple effects. And that's why we're always here starting with the easiest thing. We're starting with the one that's just super straightforward. And then we see how naturally it creates ripple effects. And naturally it starts to turn us into someone who is more willing and more open and more excited about doing those hard things. That's another huge theme of this podcast. And that's what this episode ties into. All right. We've already explained it. Now's the time where we actually commit. Today, this week's willpower challenge is after you brush your teeth, write in your notebook for 1 minute with the header saying, today I will. Leave it in the bathroom or someone super apparent. That's it. Say it with me now. I will do this today. Decide for yourself that in the next 24 hours, the next time that you go to sleep, next time that you brush your teeth, you will do this. This is the thing you will do. Say it with me. I will do this today. If you're in public, say it under your breath or say it out loud. Fuck it. I will do this today. All right. As a quick reminder, let's go over the monthly stack. So this is the 5th one of these that we've done, which means that we're really building up. And so I want to go over the last month of habits. I don't want to give you too much all at once. So today we're doing the right 1 minute at the end of the day. Tomorrow I will. Last week, keep a water bottle in plain sight at all times throughout the day, whatever the most prominent place that you are or that you spend your time. Before that was no phone in the bedroom at night. So every night we charge our phone somewhere else, not in the bedroom. And then the one before that was 10 minutes of sunlight immediately upon waking up. Those are our monthly habits. I want to also go over a reminder of the rules of this show. There are rules here so that we are building our willpower in the most optimal way. And we're not just falling off as soon as we try and do things crazy. That's why we have clear rules. First of all, every action is implemented for at least 1 month of following through on it before you decide to abandon it. We give ourselves that time because we never know. Something could seem really hard or it could seem really boring and pointless for 2 weeks. But then after 2 weeks, you go, oh shit, I'm noticing some changes. Why we always give ourselves a full month. Could also happen the other way. You go, oh, this is working really great. And then suddenly it stops working or you notice this isn't for me. whatever. Give yourself a month, just 1 month. It also puts a time limit on it. If you're like, I don't want to do this, okay, I'll just do it for a month. Let yourself decide that. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, this is to help you stick with it. Every habit, you give 3 days without doing anything else that's new. So anytime you're putting in a new habit into place, you just do that one thing for 3 days, as well as anything else that you've been doing before that. The point being, you're never just starting a bunch of new stuff all at once. You're always giving yourself a little bit of a period of acclimatizing, getting used to this new habit. Rule number 3, we are not perfectionists. 5 out of 7 days every week is a success here. That's what we're always shooting for, is 5 out of 7 days. If you can hit 6 days, if you can hit 7 days, that is great. But 5 days is our success metric. Okay. So always aim for 5 out of 7 days. Some other side notes, you should really try to track these, at least for the first month of a new habit, is you should be tracking, making sure that you're doing 5 at least. A lot of the times, I'll do this. I'm like, yeah, I do that basically every day. And then I start tracking it and I realize, okay, I do this like twice a week, or I do this once a week, and I'm barely doing it. Our brains can be very wishful thinkers. So just track it. It makes it easier. It also is more satisfying. It's a great way to remember to do stuff. If you need somewhere to track it, you can use an app. I have 2 apps now. First is Grooves, which is awesome for analytically minded people who love graphs, charts, data, etc. That one's the more polished app. The other one I just built is a fun kind of world building game called Habit Empire. And so that's another game, or another app. If you enjoy games more, that's one to try out for tracking habits and making it visually appealing and like seeing progress as you progress in your habits. But also, I just want to say, use any fucking app you want. There are plenty of habit trackers. They're usually pretty inexpensive. Both of mine are fully free to use, or you can use paper too. That works totally fine. Just write your habits and check them off. Okay. This week's action is 1 minute long. Next week, I'm going to ask for 2. I know it's a lot, but if you can handle 1 minute, I bet you can handle 2. Okay. This habit is going to be 2 minutes long. It's going to greatly increase the amount of action that takes place in your day. Okay. So we talked a little bit about inaction today. This one next week is really going to help you hit the ground running. We could do this. We're in this together. If you guys like this episode, please share it with a friend. That's the best way you can get the word out and help me grow. You can also follow or subscribe. That helps you stick along or stay along for the process. Think of it as a way to remind yourself that this is something that you want to prioritize in your life. And it helps support me as well. As always, comment if you have any thoughts. I read them all. I really hope you put this one into practice. That goes beyond sharing, commenting, any of that stuff. It's just, if you just do the thing, that means that my purpose is fulfilled, that my time here is worthwhile. That's really why I'm here. So please commit to yourself first and take the minute today to do this thing. And if you do, I guarantee by next week, you're going to be noticing serious changes in your life. So please just do it. I also put together a free willpower walkthrough. It's a 10-day sequence that helps you build foundations for having strong willpower, being able to do things that are harder than you think you can do right now. That you can find on my website, williammulvaney.com. Look down below for the link to that. Bye, everybody.